Good morning, security gang. Happy Wednesday from Hacker Summer Camp here in hot Las Vegas, Nevada. Wednesday, August 6th, 2025. I got to tell you, I was jet lagged getting into Vegas. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was dragging. If you saw me on Sunday night or Monday or even yesterday and you saw me dragging, I was dragging. So, I'm going to tell you a little Hacker Summer Camp story here. Um, So yesterday, I go through all my meetings. Obviously, the evenings here are loaded with events, and I'm committed to multiple events. And so I say, I'm going to go do my 15-minute Navy SEAL nap. For those who don't know what that is, if you've ever been in the military, it's something you learn, but also now it's like public out there, like a lot of people teach it. But it's a 15-minute cat nap where you elevate your legs above your head and you go to sleep, and you do it for 15 minutes, and the way your blood rushes through your systems, it's kind of like your body's refreshed. And I bet some of you already know where this story's going. I slept until this morning. My phone was blowing up. My family was like, hey, where are you at? Like, what woke me up in the middle of the night was my iWatches find my iWatch alert from my family going like, you're not answering your phone. Are you in a ditch somewhere in Vegas? No. So that's it. But if you can't tell today, I'm like, it's 5 a.m. and I'm like super, 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 super into it. All right. So and I needed the rest because in a few hours I'm heading to the Pandora CISO CEO All-Star basketball game here in Las Vegas. And so I needed the rest. So I'll issue apologies to everyone I stood up yesterday. That'll be forthcoming. But beyond all of that, let's get into the cyber news because you're not just tuning in to hear these stories. So, coffee cup cheers to whatever you're drinking, wherever you may be in the globe, watching or listening to this morning's show. But we've got some cyber news to talk about. We'll kick off with Cisco now disclosing a third party data breach impacting a third party customer relationship management system. The incident came to light on July 24th when Cisco learned one of its representatives was targeted in a phishing attack. The threat actor at the time managed to get access and steal a subset of basic profile information from an instance in a third-party CRM system used by Cisco. They obviously took immediate steps to terminate the attacker's access to the systems. An investigation determined that the attacker obtained information provided by individuals who registered to an account on Cisco.com. The compromised information includes names, email addresses, phone numbers, organization name, address, and a Cisco assigned user ID and some metadata related to the account, meaning like account creation date, stuff like that. Cisco didn't identify any impact to their products or services. It appears to be just like a basic database type of steal. This isn't the only data breach Cisco has suffered recently. In December of 2024, a notorious arrested criminal threat actor Intel broker leaked gigabytes of files, including source code, scripts, digital certificates, and configuration files pertaining to Cisco products. Cisco confirming that data was authentic. So now we have this here, and again, you're seeing these phishing attacks, the use of AI getting really, really prevalent, where they're no longer doing the phishing emails. It's phishing. It's voice phishing, folks. They're calling, they're pretending to be someone, they're authenticating, and they're making it work. Pay attention to it. Danish jewelry giant Pandora, who you've seen at every shopping mall if you go to one of those, disclosing a data breach after customer information was stolen in the Salesforce data theft attacks that are ongoing. Pandora is one of the largest jewelry brands in the world with 2,700 locations and 37,000 employees. Forbes reporting that only customer names, birth dates, and email addresses were stolen in the attack. None of the customers' passwords, IDs, and financial information were not exposed as part of this. Pandora has not shared the name of the third-party platform, but we all know it to be Salesforce. And again, the Salesforce attack, very similar to the Snowflake attack last year. Username and passwords were compromised of users who, and then they're just logging into their Salesforce databases. That's all it is. There's not a vulnerability in Salesforce. It's nothing like that. Shiny Hunters has confirmed to Bleeping Computer that they're trying to extort company and perform a mass sale or leak companies that don't pay ransom in the future, like they did with the Snowflake data theft accounts. And again, with third-party types of softwares that contain a lot of data, whether it be Snowflake, Elastic, Salesforce, HubSpot, whatever it is, Jira, you got to have MFA. And if you're using single sign-on with Okta or any other solution, you got to also have the authentication when a user's logging in. Just the basic, like, hey, click yes, do phone authentication, do biometric authentication based on the device. That's all going to be really, really critical, because the threat actors now realize that in some of these cases we're not using MFA, and then when we're not using MFA, they're going in and they're stealing all the data. We continue with more data breach news, with dialysis company Dvita saying more than 900,000 Americans were impacted by the April ransomware attack. The company began filing data breach notification letters in several states this week, informing regulators in Oregon, Texas, South Carolina, Washington, and Massachusetts that 952,000 U.S. residents were impacted by the incident. The company said it was able to remove the criminals from its system on the same day that the breach did occur. However, they were able to steal some information, including some demographic data, names, addresses, dates of birth, social security numbers, health insurance information, and other clinical information like health conditions. This is where I agree with this reporting. Let me tell you why. Because take away names and addresses, DOBs, SSNs, health insurance information, that's all really, really usable information. That's information you cannot change, like your date, name and date of birth, and like your name and address. But it's also information that could be used later and requires a lot of monitoring and vigilance. So this is one of those cases where that is 100% justified. It's not just like a name, address, email address, and phone number, right? It's significant information here. For some individuals, even some of the information included tax identification numbers or images of checks written to Dvita. So all of that was there. Dvita confirming to the SEC that the attack encrypted part of its network and did impact its operation. The Interlock ransomware gang took credit for the incident, claiming to have stolen 1.51 terabytes worth of data and posting some samples on their leak site. The company reports $12.8 billion in revenue last year, and it's one of the largest kidney care providers in the U.S. So there's that. PBS suffering a data breach that exposed the corporate contact information of its employees and those of its affiliates, according to Bleeping Computer. The alert to a file circulating on Discord servers that allegedly contained the information. The data was not distributed on dark websites, any sort of hacking forum. So this appears to be an internal leak. Was being shared on Discord servers for fans of PBS Kids, where young adults, teenagers, and young kids can talk about their favorite shows they grew up watching. Bleeping Computer obtained the file, can confirm it includes the contact information of just under 4,000 PBS employees and affiliates. Each record is in JSON file, contains the employee name, corporate email, title, time zone, department, location, job function, hobbies, and their supervisor's name. After contacting PBS, the company confirmed it was stolen from an internal service used for public television employees. They've now reached out to those whose information was compromised, but it appears that this isn't malicious, but rather likely something internal that leaked outside. We move from data breaches to Google's Big Sleep, which has now identified its first set of real-world security vulnerabilities in used open source projects. We talked about Big Sleep a few weeks ago when it discovered a massive zero-day. Well, now we know that the collaboration between DeepMind and Google's internal security team, Project Zero, is really taking effect here. The vulnerabilities discovered by Big Sleep have not yet been publicly detailed as a standard practice in order to prevent potential exploitation before fixes are available. But what they're saying is we found 20 different vulnerabilities, and approximately 1 week after a vulnerability is reported to a vendor, Google will publicly disclose the name of the affected vendor or project, the impact of product, the date the report was filed, and the 90-day deadline for resolution. So we're seeing how AI is really stepping up here. We'll move to some more vulnerabilities. 5 vulnerabilities in the Control Vault firmware associated with the Windows API could expose millions of Dell laptops to persistent implants and Windows login bypasses via physical access, according to Cisco Talis. The issue tracked with multiple CVEs 2025, 24311, 25215, 249er22, 25050, and 249er19er were disclosed on June 13th when Dell announced that patches for them were rolled out for over 100 Dell Pro Latitude and Precision models. The affected component, the Control Vault 3 and the Control Vault 3 Plus iteration, is hardware-based system meant to securely store passwords, biometric information, and security codes. So, according to Talis, an attacker doesn't even need to have admin privileges. They could interact with the Control Vault via associated API and execute arbitrary code on the firmware, leaking sensitive information affecting the security of the device, which could allow them to modify the firmware. The security firm also notes that an attacker with physical access to the device could pry it open and access the USH board, allowing the attacker to exploit any of the 5 vulnerabilities without having to log in or know a full disk encryption password. So, patch those up. Trend Micro warning customers to immediately secure their systems against an actively exploited remote code execution vulnerability in their Apex One endpoint security platform. Apex One is designed to automatically detect and respond to threats, including malicious tools, malwares, and vulnerabilities. The security flaw CVEs 2025 549er48 and 549er87, depending on the CPU architecture, is due to a command injection weakness in the Apex One Management Console that enables pre-authenticated attackers to execute arbitrary code remotely on systems running unpatched software. So Trend Micro has yet to issue security updates to patch these vulnerabilities, but it has released a mitigation tool that provides short-term mitigation against exploitation attempts. You want to make sure you get that used. Adobe releasing an out-of-bounds security update that addresses 2 serious vulnerabilities in Adobe Experience Manager Forms and Java Enterprise Edition, for which public exploit codes does exist. Those are CVEs 2025 54253. That's got a perfect score of 10 on the CVSS scale, and CVE 2025 54254. That's got an 8.6 score on the CVSS scale and can be exploited to execute arbitrary code or read arbitrary files on the system. Adobe is aware that there's a publicly available proof of concept exploit. Adobe is not aware that these issues are being exploited in the wild. They've credited Subham Shah and Adam Hughes of Asset Notes, which was acquired by Searchlight Cyber, for reporting the vulnerabilities, and they're urging customers to apply it to those hotfixes. Researchers now finding new infrastructure believed to be used by the spyware manufacturer Candereo to attack computers through Windows malware. According to research released by Recorded Futures Insecure Group on Monday, 8 distinct operational clusters linked to the spyware, which is tracked as Devil's Tongue. 5 of them are highly likely to be active, including clusters tied to Hungary and Saudi Arabia. The infrastructure includes both victim-facing components likely used in deployment in C2 of the Candereo Devil's Tongue spyware and higher-tier infrastructure used by the spyware operator. In addition to the active clusters associated with Hungary and Saudi Arabia, researchers found another tied to Indonesia that appears to be active since November of 2024. So we see that there. And again, this stuff does exist, and it's out there, spyware, and it's being used by governments. That's what they do, part of national security apparatus. Should there be a larger debate around this? Absolutely. Should we go after the companies? Not so sure. So there's that. That's it for our show this morning. But before we sign off today, if you're still here at Hacker Summer Camp and you're headed to the floor, go say hi to our friends over at Threat Locker. Here's how they help you get control of your cybersecurity environment.
Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Worry no more. You can harden your security with our friends at Threat Locker. Imagine taking a proactive deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity, blocking every action, process, and user unless specifically authorized by your team. Threat Locker helps you do this and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based support team. Stop the exploitation of trusted applications within your organization to keep you running efficiently and secure, protected from ransomware. Worldwide companies like JetBlue trust Threat Locker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. To learn more about Threat Locker, if you're in Vegas for Blackad, go check out their booth, 1933 on the floor, and tell them I sent you.
All right, folks. So if you're here and you see me later today or tomorrow, please say hi. Come. I mean, I've ran into so many awesome people. I ran into Kane McGrady yesterday. Like, that was awesome. Like, we were walking in Mandalay, going from one event to the other. I've run into so many people here at the hotel lobbies all over the place. So just come say hello. Shout out to everyone who I've seen thus far. And obviously I'll make a bigger post on it over the weekend. on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com, sharing a lot of my feedback from Hacker Summer Camp. Until then, thank you all for tuning in this morning. Have a great rest of your day, and most importantly, y'all, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.